Thank you, Seshadri, and thank you, Madhu. I say this each year, I say it this year too. I am trying to step into fairly large size shoes of the late past district governor, Dr. C.S. Ramchandran. And every time I come in here, I invoke his blessings and then come and talk to the Rotary Club of Madras South, which as for me is an honor. I love coming here and talking to Rotary Club of Madras South, and so thank you again for this honor that you give me. President Saravanan, Secretary Ilam, fellow Rotarians, and quite importantly, your immediate past President Makhdoom. It's like yesterday or last week that I came and spoke when your first meeting. And there I see you needed a wheelbarrow to bring all your trophies back. So you have done very well. Congratulations. I believe till 12 noon or 12 midnight on 30th you were still working. So good show. Friends, Barry Rassen, the RI president this year, is from the Bahamas. But he is a little out of the ordinary. His presidentship itself is slightly out of the ordinary. I do not know how many of you know. The person who was elected to be the president this year was Sam Overi, who died when he was president-elect, and Barry Rassen was elected again to become the president of this year. He was elected to become the president of this year. And Barry Rassen belongs to the Bahamas. As we all know, it's a country that's surrounded by sea, and I do believe that with a shortened amount of time available to pick up the color of his jacket and maybe the design of his tie and then work on the theme, I'm sure Barry Rassen must have stood on the shores of the beach somewhere there and then looked into the sea for inspiration to get at this. And I think that the sea can inspire. I do not know how many of you have felt it. I have felt the sea to be very inspiring. Its largeness, its completeness inspires. So I think he got the idea, the crux of the idea from the sea, which he has confessed is something which he loves. So my friend, let's take a look at this. Is there anybody in this world who says that he has never been inspired by anybody? No one else has inspired him? I don't think so. Each one of us are inspired in different ways by different people, but most of the time we are inspired, and it is this inspiration that has allowed all of us to reach wherever we have reached or go whichever direction we wanted to go. So, I just want to make a difference. Seshadri just said that he is an inspiration himself. To me, I am not. We have to understand there is a subtle difference between motivation and inspiration. Most people mistake motivation to be inspiration. A great motivator can start off from his house in the morning and say, okay, today I am going and I am going to go and motivate a bunch of people, children, staff, whoever else. You can do that. But then you can't start from your house and say, okay, today I am going to go and inspire some X number of people. Inspiration is something which people see in you and get inspired. You can't go and say, I am going to inspire you now, come and stand here, sit down. 20 minutes of inspiration. No. 20 minutes of motivation is possible. 20 minutes of inspiration is not. We have had huge, fantastic names, people who have inspired nations. While I know that it is probably not the right name to start with, but I always like to start with the name of Adolf Hitler. He was a huge inspiration for an entire working community in Germany. They saw their lives changing through him. It is another issue that after he got that following, he turned into the Führer, or he turned into the dictator that he was. But let's not forget that he inspired an entire nation and beyond. He could do that. Of course, closer home, we have Mahatma Gandhi, who inspired, I would say, a conglomerate of multiple kingdoms which India was, and made them all look in one direction towards sending out a common enemy. Then Abdul Kalam, Sachin Tendulkar, closer home during football season, you have to talk about Ronaldo. Thanks to him, so many kids have started playing football. He has been an inspiration. Now, they all did what they wanted to do. They did not go out and say, okay, Ronaldo did not say, okay, from today onwards I am going to inspire so many number of people to play football. No, he played football. He played football the way he knows how to play football. He had an innate character, he had an innate passion for the game. He played it, and he played it with passion, and that inspired. Seeing him, a lot of people kids started wanting to be Ronaldo, wanting to play. So that is really what the passion and dedication is, what inspired others. All of us, every one of us, while we go through school, are inspired by our teachers. At least there is one teacher who has inspired us. For me, there have been two teachers who have inspired me thoroughly. One, a lady, no more, God bless her soul, Srimati Miss, or Srimati Butch was her name. Srimati Miss was my English teacher. She was also my class teacher. Consider this, fellow Rotarians. When she spoke in class, you can't hear beyond the third row. She was so soft. She didn't have a booming voice. She was just, had a very small, I would even say a meek voice. She never got angry, so she didn't terrorize the children. She was one person who taught a subject which didn't matter too much because it was English. She was, of course, the class teacher for me when we were in 10th standard, and then when we were in 11th standard. Those days, 10th and 11th. But I tell you, the impact that she made, not just on me, but on almost the 32 students of the class, was something unbelievable. And as we moved on, if there was a reason for me to love English, if there was a reason for me to like the subject and like the language and go further, it was thanks to Srimati Miss. There was one more person, R. Srinivasan Master. R. Srinivasan Master taught me history, and specifically Indian history. The amount of patriotism that he inculcated in all of us. He was himself a patriot, having come from the RSS. He was an RSS cadre, but then he was a patriot, and he taught so wonderfully. If any one of us said that the 1857, if we said Sepoy Mutiny, he will stare at us. He will say, First War of Independence. Don't call it a mutiny. Who said it's a mutiny? It's a First War of Independence. But nevertheless, there was a tremendous amount of patriotism and that inspiration for the country, what he really inculcated. At least in me, 6 years later, when I finished my engineering and I had a choice between going out to study in Clarkson's, Sri will know, from our college we could go to Clarkson's. So I had the choice of going to Clarkson's or taking a job in India. It was primarily this sense of patriotism which made me stay back, and that was thanks to my teacher, R. Srinivasan. So, I sometimes analyze and I ask myself, what was it that differentiated all these people? How is it that some people are able to be inspirations while others are not able to. And I realized, at least to start with from my teachers, I realized that they were a sum total teacher. They were everything that you wanted in a teacher. They were a complete teacher, and they knew that beautiful balance between being human and being a teacher. It is the completeness and the balance that makes a person be an inspiration to the others. So, when you look at it, as the president, as the secretary, as the director, as the committee chair, when you are looking to be an inspiration, which is what Barry Rassin has asked all of us to do, what do we do? How do you be an inspiration? The first thing that I think is walk the talk. You have to walk the talk. You have to have impeccable practices. I believe that the practices are far more important than the performance itself. How you conduct yourself and how you conduct the affairs of the club and how you conduct anything is the one that actually catches somebody and says, hey, this is the way I want to be. I'm inspired of the way that's being done. So, in short, running the club in a way in which every member of the club feels proud of being a member. Every member says, I'm very proud to be a Southerner. That, in a nutshell, is the way to inspire the group. So, what happens to my own inspirations in Rotary? There have been quite a few, but I would like to definitely name 3 of them. One was past District Governor S.R. Govindarajan, again a Southerner, and a Westarian. He basically was a member of my club. Past Governor Boja Shetty, both of them, God bless their souls, they are no longer with us. But there is a third person, and I am very happy today he is not sitting in this meeting. It would have been extremely embarrassing for me to name him as an inspiration for me in Rotary, and I am glad that the rest of you are listening to it. Past District Governor Raja Ramakrishnan. He is an inspiration in Rotary, not just to me, but to many of us. And all these qualities that I spoke about, the way you carry yourself, the way you conduct yourself, the way your demeanor, the way you put across points, every little thing matters and it fits him like a glove. He is a complete Rotarian, and it is his completeness that goes on to ensure to serve as an inspiration, not just to us. It is the completeness. He's not a flamboyant character, all of us know that. He doesn't have a booming voice, we all know that. He does not come dressed very flashily, we all know that. He just goes, and when he talks, he just says to the point, we know that. But still, if you see, if you ask, and if it is possible for your president to recommend to the governor that at the conference, if we can award PDG Raja Ramakrishnan as the most inspiring Rotarian of the district, that would be something that you will be doing as an honor to him. If they ask me, I will say it, but then the club can definitely go and talk to your governor and get that done, because it makes a big difference. People think that all those people who come and make a big speech from the podium, or somebody who has got a very towering personality, no, they are not the inspirations. Close your eyes for a few minutes and think over the people who have inspired you. Most of the people who have inspired you may not have any of these qualities, but they would have still inspired you. And they inspire you in a matter of moments. They don't even require too much of time. You just see them and then you get inspired. So, the completeness and the balance you demonstrate. It is the balance and the completeness that makes a person an inspiration. And that's the reason why I say PDG Raja Ramakrishnan is an inspiration to many of us in this district. Friends, can only people be inspirations? I don't think so. I said to Barry Rassin himself, I'm sure the ocean was an inspiration. So let me just conclude with a little true anecdote. I may have already told this to you before. It's my favorite, so I'm saying it again. 8:45 in the morning, Washington subway station. A man walks down, very busy time, everybody is going to school and work and nobody has the time. So the first level of the underground, this man just spreads out a towel, opens his violin and starts playing. He plays a piece from the Bach. He plays for 45 minutes. There are people who are walking past. Some turn to look at him, some put their hand inside their pockets and come out with some loose change and put it on the towel. Nobody has the time to even stand there and listen. Everybody is busy going about his or her work. At the end of 45 minutes, he completes whatever that he is doing. He puts the violin back in the case, collects the loose change that he's collected in the towel, which works out to something like about $10.20 or something like that. He collects that money and he goes away. The story ends here. This is not something out of the figment of my imagination. This was a social experiment that the Washington Post did. The person who played the violin that day morning at the Washington station is Joshua Bell, one of the foremost violinists in this world. The cost of the violin that he used to play that morning was $3 million. It was his personal violin. Same Joshua Bell 2 weeks ago had performed in an auditorium across the road. 3,000, I think, was the capacity of the auditorium. And the average cost of the ticket was somewhere like $500. He did 2 shows and both the shows ran to full house. So imagine people paid $500 on an average to come and listen to Joshua Bell across the road from where he played. And in those, in that performance, he played 45 minutes of the same piece of Bach that he played at 8:45 here to a standing ovation both times. Friends, the reason why I say this is, even a Joshua Bell, unless and until he has the right forum, even he is not recognized, he is not listened, what he does not make an impact. You and I are ordinary people. We have got an organization called Rotary. Rotary is the place which is going to give us the forum for us to do what we have to do. Rotary is the place which is going to serve as our inspiration. So let's be inspired by Rotary and let's make sure that we start traveling towards being a complete Rotarian. Thank you very much.
Thank you Rotarian PDG A Subramaniam for being with us today and interpreting on the topic, Be the Inspiration. Your speech was really awesome. Thanks again. And it's quiz time. Rotarian, can we? Yeah.